Hello, my name is Laura Sneed, and I am a candidate in the EDLD Principal Program at Lamar University. For my observation, I have chosen the Observing Video option on page 4 of the Practicum Plan log. This standard addressed the learning-centered values and ethics of leadership by observing a teacher in a classroom through the lens of an administrator, noting my colleagues' attention to learning differences, multicultural awareness, gender sensitivity, and ethic appreciation. This is a fundamental skill that must be developed over time by an administrator, and with the guidance of my campus mentor, I feel that this activity will help me explore and develop into an effective administrator. I will be observing Miss Adrian's 9th grade Algebra 1 Mathematics summer school class. This class takes place over a 6-week period and addresses the needs of students across the school district who were unable to successfully complete the curriculum during the standard school year. Miss Adrian spends an hour and a half daily teaching the students in a classroom setting before releasing them to complete their self-paced work on the computer. I met with Miss Adrian to discuss the observing activities prior to completing the observation. She stated that the activity would focus on the fundamental math skills the students will need in order to be successful on the end-of-course exam that will be given the following week. Ms. Adrian continued by explaining the diverse instruction that is implemented in her classroom. This will be indicated by the multi-level use of technology, one-on-one instruction, and small group instruction. Ms. Adrian will assess the students' engagement by observing their participation in the activities and their ability to complete the practice problems that are assigned throughout the lesson. She mentioned that the small class size and diverse population, both in terms of gender and ethnicity, provide a good mix of perspective and performance abilities of the students. During this lesson, she will be addressing each student's current placement in the online program in order to ensure that they are all comfortable with the material and able to successfully complete their online quizzes and tests. Through the use of these different activities, she will be ensuring that all the students, in whatever position that they are in on the program, are prepared to move forward and that they understand the basic skills that they will need for the end-of-course exam given next week. She will also be providing them with worksheets and different assignments, all students, despite where they are on the program, so that they each can get extra practice.
One more time. I know you have hold on like all day every day, but I'm gonna say it one more time. If I can find that, oh, there it is. Can I get a tall person to turn on the projector, please? What are you pressing? Should be a blue button. There you go. It's on. Thank you. Go ahead and get paper and pencil. Again, if you don't have pencil, you can borrow a beta pencil. If you don't have paper, I have a copy sheet. Okay, while you are getting your materials out, again, including today, you only have 5 days left. Okay? Including today, you only have 5 days left. Don't do anything stupid to get kicked out. Okay? Okay, so again, as you do it, I think all of you are now to a point where you are, if you're not already between 40 and 50%, you're past it, which is good. So we're going to try to get either A, as close to 100% as possible, or B, just bringing that grade up. Again, the higher the grade, the better you are. Oh. So even if you have 50%, but you got like a 72, that's good, but you don't want a 72. You want something higher. Okay? So once you get past that 40, 50%. You want to bring your grade up. You want it to be higher and higher. What I noticed from you as a whole is, especially on the math part, if it just tells you straight out what to do, you can do it no problem. But if they give you a visual or if they give you additional directions, you don't pay attention to that. Okay? Let me show you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's say for here, let's go down. Remember when you were doing this, and instead of actually multiplying the fractions, they had you draw the boxes? Okay, so like, that was big. So looking at number 2, we know how to multiply fractions. We know we can go straight across. One of the questions they asked you to do was not to multiply it, but to draw the boxes. Show me a picture. That was where majority of you made your mistakes. Okay? So let's see. What do 3 and 5 have in common? 15. Okay? Now, 3 times what is 15? 5. So what you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So what do you do up top? Times 5 and you get? Okay? 5 times what is 15? What you do to the bottom, you do to the top. Now I need to draw my picture. The bottom number tells me how many squares I need. Okay? These tell me to shade up and down and left and right. Do I have, anybody see my black marker? Maybe using that one. There it is. So how many do I shade going left and right? 5. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 3. And how many do I shade? And how many do I shade up and down? Okay. Does this look familiar? You're on this part right now? You just now passed it? I'm on it. You're on this, where they have you shade in? Okay, do you understand how this is done? You passed this? But you understand what I'm talking about, how instead of actually multiplying it, they want you to draw a picture, where the picture is the answer, not the numbers. Does this make sense? Okay, so on your paper, I want you to do this one. Do I just scroll it up for everybody to see? You good? Okay, so if you need to multiply it to see what the answer is, that's fine. But again, the answer is the picture. So do that one for me fairly quickly. Yes. And you don't, when you draw and shade it, you don't have to shade them really dark. So kind of do it light, and where they cross over, it's going to want to be dark. Okay. Do you still need the board? Okay. I forget which one of you it was. One of you were on something where you had to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, but at the very end it says find the sum by rounding. I don't remember which one of you was on that yesterday. You was on rounding? So for example, we know how to add these. These are no problem. But it said to estimate the sum, estimate the difference by rounding. Okay? Who remembers our rounding rules?
Four, zero through 4 go down. 5 through 9 go up.
There we go. I wish I had that luxury.
No, she called me 12 o'clock last night. And said,
This morning,
this morning. She said, did you remember to tell me something? I said, didn't I? And she said, and she thought myself, I'm not right.
Okay, so now let's see what this sum could be by rounding. Okay, so I've got a 14 here. Am I going to round up or round down?
down.
Tell me why.
Because
Because the 4 is
Because the 4.
what is that? Whatever it is.
Now the 10. Do I round up or round down? Down. Why?
Zero.
Because of the 0. And when I add them, I get
20.
Okay, that is what your direction is. A lot of you, what you ended up doing was adding this to get 24, and this is right, but it's round. Okay, makes sense? So I don't want you to add these. If you want to, that's great, go for it. But what I want you to do is estimate the sum by rounding. So I've done that one. You can do this section. Tad bit tricky. Okay, do I need to do 2 more just to?
How much you want to round up?
Can you-
Yeah, one.
can
You want to
you-
round up one?
Hold on, hold on.
Do 2 more.
Can I do
like the one.
this one? Okay, so here, do I round up or round down?
Down.
Round down. Why?
There's a 1.
Because it's a 1.
So you go back to the 2.
That just stays 1. Okay, do I round up or round down?
Down.
Round down to
1.
3.
4. You had 4.
Oh.
3.
When I say round down, that means add 0 to it.
4. 4.
Because see, hold on, let me find one. Like here,
You go up.
you're going to round up. Okay, when I round up, I add 1 to the 10 spot. Does that make sense?
Alright, so for that 8, what
Okay, for the 8, do I round up or round down?
Round up.
You're going to round up to the middle. Okay,
Two.
now when I round up, what number is in front of 8 that I don't see? 0. Okay, so when I add 1 to that, it becomes,
Wait, what?
remember we're rounding this up?
That's the
So when I round this up, this 0 becomes a
10?
1 or 10.
So put the 0 in front of like the 3, and then that 12, put the 0 in front of it. And now round down.
Okay, so you said, wait, this one, when I round down, that 0,
It's like,
I
one spot.
one.
you said round down, right?
Yeah.
If I round down, what happens to that 0?
This is good. Stay the same.
The 0 stays the same. Yeah, only when you round up does the number get bigger. And what about this one?
Down.
No, down.
Okay, so if I round down, it becomes, okay. Now, this one works like this one because you have a 2-digit number. When they are just 1-digit numbers, the only time you round up is if that number is 5 to 9. If it's not, then you just keep it the same. Does that make sense? sure? Okay, so knock out these three. Remember, do not actually add them. You have to round them first. Something else must have not working. That five, with and that box, it go up by one. You see that? Does that make sense? Are you sure? Okay, once you get done with those three, I don't remember what everybody is on. So when you get done, you can tell me either what you are on in math, or if you don't know what it is, what it looks like.
I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with that one with the thing the other day.
You remember what it looks like?
I know exactly what it looks like. I'll show you that.
I say, when you get done with that, either explain it to me or show me on your paper.
You know, like, the truck you showed me,
It's kind of like King Henry Dodge reading chocolate milk.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So it'll say, where's the 8 in this decimal, or what's it asking you?
It'll be like 0.08, and then that's another problem when you have like 8.0.
How does the 8 change? Or we were adding decimals.
They just always have stuff with.
Okay, you can add them, you can subtract them, multiply, divide them, ask you how it changes, stuff like that. Okay.
The thing is, on that, I'm on the test. But I'm on, you know how all the bars, I'm on the last one. That's the last one.
Okay. Those who are done, what are you looking at on your math screen now?
On my math screen.
Yeah, when you, instead of the English part of Ingenuity, the math portion. What are you doing? What are you looking at?
I got 70%.
So you're still.
I passed that.
We went over that. Okay, anybody else? Anybody else? What are you doing? What are you looking at? Because remember, today is the last day. Y'all get a week off, and then when y'all come back, from what I hear, when you guys come back, you're taking the EOC.
Yeah.
That Monday.
Well, I don't know. Last night, I got on my Ingenuity for about 2 hours.
Okay, is there anything else? Again, this is the last day that I'm going to be able to help you. Take your EOC. I am going to be here Monday.
Yeah, they said it was like, did they go to
Because I told you, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're going to be in the computer lab all day. I told you that last week.
Why would I be in the computer all day?
No, but they said you're not going to be here.
We'll see when I get here. That, no, I just knew that either Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're taking your EOC. And then after you take your EOC, you're going to be in the computer lab all day. That's all I know. Now, if I'm not going to be here, then I guess I'm not going to be here.
That was great. She said, your last day was Monday or something like that. And I came and told yesterday, we got to be here Monday or Tuesday. July.
Monday.
Whatever that is. Because she said,
That's Monday.
because she said we bonded test. She can at least give us good ingenuity so we can bring it up.
And that is one of the reasons why I want you to keep working on Ingenuity. Once you get past that 50% grade, but the higher your grade, the more likely you are to pass. That is why I've been pushing you guys to get towards that 100%. to bring your grade up as high as possible.
And a 50 something is real quick.
So imagine what a 0 would do.
I ain't gonna get no 0, man.
Oh, okay. Now, James, what are you working on? Math? You don't remember what it looks like either?
What percent you got?
Ricky, what are you working on? Oh, that's right, you finished. You said you don't remember what it. Did you say you don't remember what it looked like? Okay, Ricky, do you remember what you were doing on that?
I've been doing my English.
That's right. You're trying to bring that percentage up. So the only thing we have is adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, decimals, and place value, and then multiplying fractions. That's it.
I'm just doing mine. I'm gonna put out this bomb. That's it. It is.
I think ingenuity as far as decimals had something like okay, I do remember a question like this where they gave you one decimal and then they changed it. They moved the number that you're supposed to be looking at. Okay, so they'll ask you, how did this number change? And yes, they do have a silly answer by just sliding it to the left. And you know that's not the answer. Okay? Does anybody remember what King Henry died drinking chocolate milk means?
Yep.
What is king? You remember what that is? Kilo. And a kilo is how much? 1,000. After king, you have Henry. What's Henry? Hecto. And the hecto is 100. The word died stands for the other one. What do you call a set of cards? Deck up.
That's 10.
Okay. Now remember this blank space? This is where your decimal point is. No, wait, there's something above it, sorry. The decimal point is after the one. Okay, so decimal point. He died while drinking. Okay, drinking is the, there you go. Now, how much is a deci?
What?
Not zero. This is the actual number behind the decimal point. After the one. What would you call tenths?
Oh, I see you already got a decade. That's why I didn't take it.
Remember, this is when they start flipping around? Or this is 10, this is 0.1. Drinking. Chocolate stands for? Say that louder. Center. And what did you say it was?
Tenth.
I got tenths. Hundredths. Hundredths. And the last one. Milk stands for milli. What's a milli? Now, is it what? I'm saying two. Okay, so let's look at this first number. How would you say this number?
Zero.
Hundreds. The 8's in the hundreds. 800. Okay, see how we found that out? What is this one? Tenths. So, how did the number change? It moved from
Hundreds to tens.
okay, that is what your answer is. So I remember seeing some of you clicked and moved from the left to the right, and that's not the answer. Okay? Does this make sense? Did it also tell you something about how to, and they give you a really long number and they asked you where a certain number was?
No.
No? So you got past that part. What now? Huh?
Oh yeah, I've got it.
Okay. But it had to like add decimals, subtract decimals.
Yeah, they use them in a word form.
Oh.
That
So
one is pretty easy to add and subtract. They put it in word form.
So like for example, you three, give me a different number from 0 to 9. 3, 8,
6.
Somebody gotta give them one.
I said 6. 3,
You
8.
said 8.
9, 6.
Okay? How would you say this number?
386.
Going 386,000.
386,000. So the way they would write it is,
I didn't see a decimal right there. What decimal? She put a decimal for the
and you said this was 386. You said it's 386.
Ain't it 1,000?
Oh. So it would write the word out like this?
No, you forgot the and. What?
No, and is only when I use the decimal.
300.
So when you say we'll write it out in word form, this is what you mean by word form?
I mean, question, like, it's not word form, but question. Like it'd be like.
Standard form,
That's what
expanded.
I'm on standard and expanded form. That's what I'm on. Like,
Standard expanded.
like John has, it'll say John has, they say that number like that. Is it put it in word form? It's word form to the sentence.
So John has this,
And then
what
word
else?
something else, like, what would be, we'll take part of, be like, I say John has job. Let's say John has job such and such miles. I mean more miles.
Oh, that's what you meant. Yeah, that's different from what I'm doing. So it'll say something like,
John has.
and then we use a decimal, not a fraction, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
John has this much miles, and he wants to get this certain amount of miles. How much?
What's the difference? How much more does he have to run?
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay.
The plain problem I got that is when it's 10 form like that.
So something like that. So this is what he has already. But when he's done, this is what he wants his total to be. If we know what he has and what he wants at the end, you're trying to find the middle part.
That's simple. It's not like that.
It's simple because we're in
That's
class.
added. That's added right there. It's not like that.
The multiplier.
Divide.
That's subtraction.
It's subtraction.
You got the small.
You see it as addition. However, if this is what he has and this is what he wants in the end, you need to find the middle part, what he hasn't done. Okay? Okay? So you're thinking addition, but to find what he has left, that's subtraction. So we have to subtract these numbers. Okay, does that make sense? Generally, if the question says how many more does he have left, that keyword is left, or more to do, that means you're subtracting. That's almost like, you're trying to buy a new pair of shoes, it's like $250, but at your current moment you only have 75. How much more money do you need to get the shoes? What would you do with those two numbers? Mm-hmm. To see that middle part that you're missing, to find out how much you need to get. That makes sense. Are you sure? Again, the key word is how much more does he need, or how much does he have left? Okay. Annie, you said you were on standard and
Yeah, I think I'm on that.
standard. What was the other one? Standard and
Expanded and word form.
standard and expanded. Decimal?
No.
You're on decimal. So if you had a number like this, they would want you to expand that.
Something like that.
Okay. Now, when we expand it, you know, when you expand something, you make it bigger.
You gotta add them, right?
And then you will be adding them up. Okay? Now, the 9 is in what spot?
Hold up, wait.
Did I? One.
Nuh-uh.
Oh. See, that's confusing. Those parts you decided.
Hold
Wait.
up,
Too big.
no, 100.
100. The 9 is in the 100.
I could just hit 1, 2.
Okay? 9 is in the 100. You said we're using what operation?
Stand.
Operation.
Oh.
No. What did you say we were going to do at the end? Thank you. Okay? So we got the 9 out of the way. Let's expand some more.
The
The 8 is in what spot?
9 to 10.
10s. Okay, you see how I'm expanding it? Okay? 3 is in the who? 3 is in the 1. Now, this is the tricky part. The 4 is in what spot?
The ones. Wait.
Say that one more time. Tenths. Okay.
The 110,000.
Okay, and the last one, where is the 6? Thousandths? That's expanded form. We just made the number bigger. Okay? Now, if they give it to you backwards, where they already have it in expanded form, then you have to know how to put it in standard form. Okay? So let's see. 5. Let's try 6 numbers. 1, 2, 3, there's 5. Okay. Tyler, give me a number. 3. Rod, give me a number.
5.
Okay, KK, give me a number. 2.
10.
10. Gotta be 0 to 9. 5. Ricky, give me a number. 8. Jamie, give me a number. 7. And I will do the last one. Okay, this is the opposite. It's an expanded form. We need to put it in standard form, where it looks like a number that we recognize. So if I multiply this together, this number turns into 3,000. If I multiply these numbers, it turns into 500. 50.
8.
Oh wait, hold on. Be careful.
8.
0.7.
Thank you. 0.7. And the last one. 0.0. There you go. Okay? Now, Monka, what did you say we're going to do with these numbers? Add them up.
8.
You just put a number in standard form. Feel better about this? Are you sure? Okay, anything else with decimals? Okay, so either you don't know what you're on or you're good with where you're at right now. Okay? Now, with multiplying fractions, how do we multiply fractions? Crisscross or straight across? Straight across. Now, Edgenuity is notorious for making your numbers really big. So once you multiply straight across, what do you have to do with your fractions?
Make it smaller.
Make it smaller. What operation helps make the fraction smaller? Division. Okay? So, Tyra, is that the rest of the good? You sure? Okay. Okay, so let's multiply straight across. 5 times 2 is? 10. 6 times 3 is? 18. Okay, you will not see this answer on Edgenuity. 10 and 18 have something in common. What is it? 2. What am I going to do with that 2? Divide it. 5. Top is 5. Bottom is? 8. Bottom is? 6. Bottom is? 9.
Oh.
I'm thinking 6
8
times
is
3.
16. I wasn't paying attention at first.
No, I'm thinking 6 times 3.
Oh, no.
Okay, so we're good with this one. Now, from the ones who are doing fractions, I've noticed that they started doing this.
Alright.
I did that.
Are they starting to do this? Or at least you have seen
You
it,
do 1 times 3 plus 2,
which is
3 for 5 over 3 times 1 over 7.
okay?
5.
And
Multiply
7
straight
5
across.
over 21.
Who?
5
21.
over 21. Listen, my voice.
Now, do 5 and 21 have anything in common? No. So this would be your answer. This tends to be the one where it says check all that apply. I haven't seen these where you multiply them and get to your straight answer. Okay? So those, yeah, definitely you since you're only multiplying fractions. Generally, if you see a mixed number, it's going to be one of those that's check all that apply. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns? Now, those of you who are in English, what have you been doing?
Something retarded.
I need some more
I've been
information.
doing I want central idea, supporting details, or something.
Central idea, support details, okay? Sir?
I gotta look at my notes.
Oh yeah, paraphrase or something around that.
I was doing stuff.
Black character
Easy stuff.
I was doing prefix and stuff.
Ooh, that's grammar.
I was doing some other stuff. What word I was doing? Oh, and
Oh no. Domain?
yep, that word. I was doing that one.
Okay,
You know what domain word is?
domain in English is different than domain in math, so that's something I'll have to ask Ms. Ray about.
We looked it up on Google. I forgot what it said.
It was like
A specific name or
hold
something.
up. It was something like a question accent. It was something like jazz, blues, rock, or something like that. It was like check all the apply to domain words.
Jazz, blues, and
It was the music. Oh yeah, I didn't.
Okay, so it sounds like English uses the word domain, like you would use genre, a different genre of music, which is jazz, opera, stuff like that. Okay. Now, who said something about summarizing and paraphrasing? Okay. Do you understand the difference between those two?
I got all like
Okay. And you
no, the different no. I want to say you paraphrase.
say that one more time.
Paraphrasing something I think.
Paraphrasing and central idea.
Confusion.
Confusion. Okay. When you try. What were you about to say? Sure. Okay. When you paraphrase something, you take an idea, you take a concept, and you put it in your words.
Yeah,
So, like, if you know something, how would you explain it to your friend?
in my own words and how I do it.
That's paraphrasing. Now, a central idea is
like based on like the main part.
Yeah, the central idea is why was the book written? Why was the poem written? Stuff like that. Sure you got it. You got it? Anything else? Anything else? Come on. Okay, Rob, what were you saying? You were on the phone. You're still on the phone. Climatic events or something like that?
Yeah, that's hard. Summarize is like something paraphrase, but it's like summarize. You put in your own words, but
yes. When you paraphrase something, you take a big idea and you put it in your own words. When you summarize something, it's short. It's like quick to the point. You hit the
but it's in your words too.
Yes. When you paraphrase something, it's generally a lot longer than when you summarize something. Okay? Like, have you ever had to explain something to someone and then explain it again with more detail? That's paraphrasing. When you summarize something, you don't always have to understand what's going on. You just get to the point and then move on. Sure. Okay. Anything else?
No, yep. I want to know, when we ask about the lowest terms,
lowest terms is when they have something in common. That's like here, when we multiplied and got 10 over 18, this is not lowest term. Okay? 10 and 18 have a 2 in common, so you have to take that out. Ingenuity says they are in lowest terms when the only thing they have in common is 1. So like 5 over 21. The only thing 5 and 21 have in common is the number 1. That's it. That's how I know this one is in lowest terms. Okay. Anything else? Anything else? No. And also, you're still looking through your notes. You're still looking. You said you're on something easy, but you're good. You know the difference between paraphrasing, summarizing, and you know what central idea or central plot?
Central idea.
Central idea. Okay. Jamie, what are you doing? Are you in English right now? What are you doing with that? Huh? Okay. And Ricky, I know you were in English. Do you remember what you're doing on that? Okay. So keep looking. Again, there are.
I observed a teacher in her classroom through the lens of an administrator, noting my colleagues' attention to learning differences, multicultural awareness, gender sensitivity, and ethnic appreciation. Miss Adrian's lesson and activity were thoroughly planned and well thought out. They accurately addressed areas where the students still struggled. This was apparent by the end of the activity when the students were able to successfully complete the assigned problems and accurately explain to Miss Adrian how to solve their individual problems. As she progressed through the lesson, she asked the students to orally explain to her the steps to solve the problem, in which they were able to do. Her strength was apparent by her ability to effectively communicate with each individual student in order to maintain his or her engagement and ensure comprehension of each math skill that was discussed. This small group setting allowed Miss Adrian the opportunity to address each student's strengths and weaknesses and highlight them throughout the activity. Miss Adrian's classroom management was well organized. However, the students did get easily distracted because the group was so small and they have all known each other for a very long time. I collected data and information and identified trends during the observation about the students' learning environment. The teacher's gender sensitivity was appropriately distributed between her male and female students throughout the lesson. All but one of the students were engaged during the presentation of the new material and skills. When I asked Miss Adrian about the specific student following the observation, she explained to me that the student had already completed the online portion of his course and he was simply completing seat hours to earn his summer school credit. In order to keep him engaged, he was working on additional assignments to extend his learning in the course, even though he was not participating in the activity she was presenting. When Miss Adrian presented the review and the strategies to use on the EOC exam, she talked about different mnemonic devices, such as King Henry died while drinking chocolate milk, which represents conversion factors during the metric system. She provided the students with worksheets in order to practice each skill set that she was covering during the lesson. Her multicultural awareness and ethnic appreciation was apparent in their discussion of how they have previously used conversion rates in the real world. Miss Adrian was very persistent in identifying key skills that the students still struggled with by determining where each student was currently practicing in the online portion of the course. As this online component is self-paced, each student can move at their own pace, and some students were farther ahead than others. She utilized this time as a review for those students who had already passed, the students who were taking a little bit longer, and as a means to introduce the students who were taking longer to the material that they would be exposed to once they move forward in the program. She was also diligent in monitoring the students as they completed their computer work. She reiterated a couple of skills that the students were particularly struggling with by implementing multiple examples. She was able to implement diverse instruction by including the multi-level use of one-on-one instruction, small group instruction, and the implementation of a variety of technology tools. She utilized the use of an interactive whiteboard and each student's computer. Ms. Adrian assessed students' engagement by observing their participation in the activities throughout the lesson and grading their assignment upon completion. In conclusion, the teacher's lesson was appropriately developed and implemented as a review before the student's EOC exam, which is their end of course exam. I feel that the lesson went well and that the students were not disrupted at all by my presence and remained engaged in their lesson. I would have changed the one-on-one instruction component and allowed the students to work in pairs in order to give them the opportunity to utilize a partner in building their understanding of the material. I have found in previous experience that oftentimes when students are able to work together, they are working just outside of their realm of comfort, and their partner is able to help them bridge the gap between what they know and what they need to know. I was surprised by the teacher's ability to maintain the engagement of the students, seeing that she had not spent much time with them, and her ability to refrain from addressing their off-task conversations. I enjoyed the fact that Ms. Adrian made sure that each student had additional practice and instruction on their concepts before sending them to work on the computer. I felt that this made her time more useful in that she was not spending the computer time going from person to person, answering the same questions when students got to a place where they were stuck. This experience will transform my practice as a school administrator in a variety of ways. I will be able to better identify and look for gender sensitivity, multicultural awareness, and ethnic appreciation in teachers' instruction now that I have had an opportunity to participate in this observation.